Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. And today we are going to, we're filming. Rep left a nut. Dear Coop, I don't know why you ordered this. You don't even. We got a pull-up bar here on this end. Typically, Yokes do not have pull-up bars.
This is nice. They did the laser cut mountains.
This is the base that can also be used as a sled. One thing I notice here, so most of the attachments that Rep would use would have UHMW on the inside because it's metal on metal contact. And these ones don't. The thing I'm most interested in is it does have this three-way handle system with different diameters. That is sick. Too. And this is what they should take this and put it on like a pull-up bar or something. Dude, this on its own is heavy. I mean, it's probably 60 pounds maybe. Here's a cool component. These are handles, so you can use it for a sled, removable.
If you need some help over there, let me know.
I won't.
Okay. This thing is not yoking around.
Please don't do that again. Go for a light jog, please. Here's the hard part with these yokes. You kind of got to be yoked just to get it set up. I mean, look how thick this steel is. Would you just look at that?
Just look at it.
All right, there's your yoke piece. Sam, deadlift that.
Are you yoking right now?
Oh, man. Most of Rep's pieces are designed for home gym owners, right? Like that's their market. This is designed for either a strongman gym or a strongman home gym. Like this is not just made for your normal everyday guy that wants to be able to deadlift on their squat rack. But I will say, for those that are into strongman, they're gonna freaking like this. Man, I'm surprised they went with such a fat bar for the pull bar. All right, it's assembled. Let's get into some impressions. This is the Rep Oxylus. The Rep Oxylus is a yoke, frame carry, pull-up bar, squat rack, sled, all in one unit. I mean, this thing is big. It's got tons of components. It is incredibly heavy. Sam, how heavy is this thing?
This thing is 385 pounds with everything all together.
Everything all here, 385. And this is a mobile piece of equipment. But this frame is using the same 11 gauge, 3x3 inch, 1 inch hole uprights that the Rep PR5000 uses. So if you want to use J-cups on this, which by the way, this didn't come with, which I'm surprised by, like they market it as a rack and the J-cups are one of the cheaper components on here. I'm just kind of surprised they didn't throw those in. Rep is known for using a 47 inch outside to outside width. The reason they do that is because it's nice when you're re-racking the bar. The reality is this is not 47 inch. This is 49 inches outside to outside, which is what Rogues is, and Rep demonizes that it's that wide on Rogue racks. Now, the reason they probably did that is so they had extra width when you're using it for the yoke carry and you're using it for like the strongman carry, the trap bar carry. Uprights then attach to the base. And the base is really the only part that's permanently affixed together. These uprights and this base use these triangle pieces that are made of thick steel. They're powder coated. They've got the nice laser cut Rep logo, as well as the cool mountain logo on the side that attach them. It's then attached to a 3x3 piece on the bottom. This is the same 3x3 11 gauge steel that they use on the uprights. They don't put holes all throughout it. They just put holes in the sides, which are then attached to these sled pieces. Now, the reason these look the way they do is because this is meant to be used like a yoke, and when you're using a yoke, you often drop it as you're moving and it'll slide a little bit, so you want that functionality. But also because you can use this like a sled. You can see the post right here, and they leave some holes here so you could use some like polyurethane or some sort of plastic pieces underneath if you didn't want to scratch the ground with it. So one thing I really like about this is they made everything detachable that needs to be detachable. And so these are the weight plate posts, and they're detachable. They go on very simply like that. They actually have UHMW on the inside. The rest of these components do not have UHMW. These are the only ones that do have UHMW, which is kind of interesting to me. Next is a yoke bar. This Yoke Bar is different than what we see on a lot of companies. And the reason it's different, and the reason I like it, is it's an open C channel. The other reason this is nice is because if you want to convert this into a squat stand, you can take this off, remove the plate post on the back, place it down on the plate post. You just place it down on the frame, and then you put the pins in, and you now have what is effectively a squat stand that's very stable, very heavy, and you can load up and use however you want to. Up here is a pull-up bar. This pull-up bar is actually meant to be bolted on. I don't love that idea. For me in a garage gym, I'm gonna have to take this apart before I get it out. I'm just gonna use pins for this. And honestly, I wish they would come with that. I mean, this thing is solid on here. It's not moving hardly at all. So the reason I personally don't love the bolts is because this is a 92-inch upright. They offer these in 77 inches, which I think for most home gym owners is a better option. But then it's a little bit difficult to do pull-ups because you can't fully extend. This isn't a standard 1.25-inch pull-up bar. This is a 2-inch pull-up bar. So it's already a fat grip. Next, I think is the most unique and revolutionary component of the frame, and that is this trap bar rickshaw type training device here. This thing on its own is heavy. So this by itself is 100 pounds. These handles are nice. They're hard chrome, they're not stainless, even though they kind of look like some of their stainless components, and they're knurled aggressively. And not only that, they have a center knurl mark here that allows you to line up. The thing with this component is when you're going to deadlift it, because it's so big and kind of unwieldy and tall, if you're not lined up perfectly, you're gonna feel it. It's gonna adjust your grip, it's gonna make it harder to lift. So just having the ability to quickly glance down, or not even glance down, just feel, all right, I have the knurl mark there, I'm gonna put my middle finger there, and now I'm ready to lift, is very nice. This also has 3 different handles and they're rotating. You don't have to pop pin or anything like that. When you're ready to lift it, you just grab the handle you want and then you can lift. They have a 1-inch, I think a 1.5 inch and a 2-inch handle. I think this is a great addition. I think they did it perfectly. It spins very smoothly. I love the size of the handles. They feel very solid in hand. I love the knurling that they use. I love the center knurl mark. This is just this is really nice. And in the front, they have these sled handles. So these sled handles is placed in here, and it's a way that you can use them for sled. You can take them out easily. We have our athlete on staff here. All right, this thing is just freaking heavy. The thing to understand is because it's just so heavy, if you're not sledding on turf, this thing is hard to freaking move, especially when you initially get it because the powder coat's on the bottom. It's not bare steel. So understand if you're wanting to use this as a sled, this is smooth concrete too. If you take that out to rough concrete, it's just gonna keep getting harder and heavier. And so that's the Rep Oxylus. I mean, this is literally every component that you can buy for this. The 92-inch upright for most home gym owners is too tall. It's nice if you're gonna leave it outside, or nice if you're using a commercial gym where it's easy to take it out and in. But if you're using it in a facility like your garage, where you're gonna have to move it outside and your garage door is a normal sized garage door, even if it's a little bit taller, you're gonna have to disassemble all this, take these apart, move it outside, and then put it together. And I just know that anytime you introduce friction into your workout, the less likely you are to use it. And I think the 77-inch is a good height. Like 77-inch, you would still be able to have a pull-up bar on there and do pull-ups. You would just have to lift your legs a little, which isn't that big of a deal. Okay, so one thing you could do with this is you could leave it outside. The SR3000, I use that outside in my driveway for probably close to 8 months or so. Got rained on, it just literally just left out there. It fared okay, but because it's such thick steel, you're gonna have it's not gonna be super aesthetically pleasing, but it's gonna last decades. It's just gonna end up looking ugly, powder coat's gonna fade, it's just not gonna look very good. And this is the other thing, this thing is heavy. 385 pounds is heavier than many home gym owners' max deadlift weight or max squat weight. That's a heavy weight. Rob Carney, who's a world-class strongman, is one of their athletes. I think they designed it in some capacity with him. Anytime you design with somebody in the best in the world that's also massive and just he's world class, the product is probably gonna be suited more towards that person than the everyday home gym owner. And the everyday home gym owner, I think this is just over the top. And when I look at competitors, for instance, like a Rogue Y1 yoke, which I think is an inferior yoke, but it's cheaper at the base rate than Reps when you include shipping here to the Midwest. So it's like, they're not competing anymore on a value basis with Rogue and some of the competitors. This is a direct competitor, and I think they beat them on features. Just understand, if you want to go with this option, make sure they're features that you're actually going to use. So if it was me and my garage and my configuration, this is how I would suggest this. If you're somebody who wants a squat rack, like a squat stand that you can also use for other things, I think this is a freaking great option. I will say, although I love this component, if you're not a strong man, I don't foresee most people getting enough use out of this to spend the money on the frame carry, because it's just too heavy at a start weight for most people. But if you're a strong man and you're competing in strongman, or you have a strongman gym, or you do say strongman Saturdays at your garage gym, like, this is one of the best yoke options that's out there. So just yokes in general, my personal feelings, probably one of my favorite pieces. The reason is because of how versatile they are. In fact, it was one of my first squat rack purchases I had for my original garage gym. I think personally, more people should be looking at yokes than they should be squat stands. I'm not even yoking. I love yokes. I wish there was a light yoke like this for most home gym owners. So if they were able to make this lighter, then you can make it more mobile, then you can make it smaller. I think it would just work in more spaces. Okay, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. What do you think of the review? What do you think of the Oxylus? Let me know in the comments. Is this something you'd add to your garage or your setup, or is it just a little too much? Or if you're a strong man, how would you use it? Let me know in the comments. We'll see you next time. Peace.